I am 106 years old, and I'm telling you this now because I don't have much time left, and there's something I need you to understand before I go. Something I learned too late. Something that cost me everything. My name is William. Though these days, most people just call me Old Bill. At the care home where I live, I wake up every morning at 5:30. Not because I want to, but because my body won't let me sleep anymore. The nurses here are kind. They bring me tea. They ask me how I slept. They smile with that professional warmth that says they care, but not too much. They can't afford to. Too many of us old folks here, and not enough of them. I sit by my window most days. 4th floor. I can see the parking lot, a small garden, and beyond that, the street where cars pass by filled with people going somewhere. People with places to be. People with purposes. I watch them and I think about my life. All 106 years of it. And I want to tell you something. I was successful, very successful. By the time I was 45, I had built a business that employed over 300 people. I had money. I had respect. I had a big house with 7 bedrooms, 3 cars in the garage, a vacation home by the lake. I had everything the world told me I should want. But I am sitting here today at 106 years old, and I am alone, completely alone. And that's not the sad part. The sad part is that it's my fault. Let me take you back, way back, to when I was young. I was born in 1919. The world was different then. My father worked in a factory. My mother raised 6 children in a house with 2 bedrooms. We were poor, but we didn't know we were poor because everyone around us was the same. We shared everything. Food, clothes, stories, laughter. I remember my mother's hands. They were always working. Cooking, cleaning, sewing, holding. She would sing while she worked. Old songs I can still hear if I close my eyes. My father was a quiet man, but strong. He came home tired every single day, and every single day he would sit with us at dinner, ask us about our day, and listen. Really listen. I learned something from watching them, though I didn't realize it at the time. They were happy. Not because they had anything, but because they had each other. I didn't understand that then. I was young. I wanted more. I looked around our small house, and I made a promise to myself, I will never be poor. I will never struggle like this. I will make something of myself. And I did. I was smart. I worked hard. I got a scholarship to a good school. I studied business. I graduated with honors. And by the time I was 25, I had started my first company, a small manufacturing business. It grew fast, very fast. By 30, I was making more money than my father had made in his entire life. By 35, I was wealthy. By 40, I was very wealthy. And somewhere along the way, I forgot what I had learned from my parents. I met Margaret when I was 23. She worked at a bookstore near my college. I went in one day looking for a textbook, and she helped me find it. She had brown hair that fell just past her shoulders, and when she smiled, her whole face changed. She was kind, gentle. She loved books, loved stories, loved people. We started talking. Then we started meeting for coffee. Then we fell in love. We got married when I was 25. Small wedding. Just family and a few friends. Margaret wore a simple white dress. I wore my father's suit. We didn't have money for anything fancy, but it didn't matter. We were happy. Those first few years were beautiful. We lived in a tiny apartment. One bedroom, a kitchen so small only one person could stand in it at a time. But we would cook together anyway, laughing when we bumped into each other. We would read books out loud to each other before bed. We would talk for hours about everything and nothing. She would tell me about her dreams. She wanted children, 3 of them. She wanted a garden. She wanted to travel, but not to fancy places. Just small towns where we could walk around and meet people and hear their stories. I would tell her about my dreams too. I wanted to build something, to prove myself, to give her everything she deserved. I don't need everything, she would say. I just need you. But I didn't listen. My business started growing, and I threw myself into it completely. I worked 12 hours a day, then 14, then 16. Margaret would wait for me to come home for dinner. She would cook, set the table, and wait. Sometimes I made it. Most times I didn't. I would call and say, "I'm sorry, sweetheart, just a bit longer." "Don't wait up." She always waited anyway. We had our first child when I was 28. A son. We named him Thomas. He was perfect. Small and pink and loud. Margaret cried when she held him for the first time. I cried too. I promised myself I would be there for him. Be the kind of father my father was. But I wasn't. I missed his first steps because I was at a business meeting. I missed his first words because I was traveling for work. I missed his 3rd birthday party because I had to close a deal. Margaret never complained, not directly, but I could see it in her eyes. The disappointment, the loneliness. She would say things like, "Thomas asked about you today," or "he wanted to show you something." And I would feel guilty. I would promise to do better. But I never did. We had 2 more children, a daughter, Elizabeth, and another son, James. Beautiful children, smart, curious, full of life. I barely knew them. By the time I was 45, my company was at its peak. We were making millions. I had everything I thought I wanted. But my marriage was dying. Margaret stopped waiting for me at dinner. She stopped asking me about my day. She stopped trying. I told myself it was fine, that she understood, that she knew I was doing this for our family, to give them a better life. But the truth is I was doing it for myself. I was doing it because I needed to prove something. To who? I don't even know. My father who never asked me to. The world that didn't care. Myself. I was addicted to success, to the feeling of winning, of building, of being important. And I sacrificed everything for it. Thomas grew up. He was 17, and I realized I didn't know him at all. He didn't talk to me. When I tried to ask him about school, about his friends, about his life, he would give short answers. Fine. Good. Nothing much. Margaret told me he was struggling, that he was angry, that he needed his father. I said I would talk to him. But I didn't. I was too busy. One night, Thomas came to my office at home. I was working late, as always. He stood in the doorway, and I could see he wanted to say something. "What is it?" I asked, not looking up from my papers. He stood there for a long moment. Then he said, "Never mind," and walked away. I should have stopped him. I should have put down my work and asked him to sit down and really listened. But I didn't. That was the last real chance I had with my son. He left for college the next year, and after that, he rarely came home. He built a life far away from me, and I let him. Elizabeth was different. She tried harder. She would still hug me when I came home, even when I came home late. She would tell me about her day, even when I was distracted. She wanted my approval so badly, and I gave it, but in the wrong way. I told her I was proud when she got good grades, when she won awards, when she succeeded. But I never told her I was proud of who she was. I never spent time just being with her, just listening to her, just loving her for existing. She learned that love was conditional, that it had to be earned. That was my fault. James was the youngest, the quiet one. He loved drawing. He would spend hours with pencils and paper, creating these beautiful, detailed pictures. He showed them to me once. "That's nice," I said, barely glancing at them. "But make sure you're keeping up with your schoolwork. Art won't pay the bills." He never showed me his drawings again. Years later, I found out he became an artist, a successful one. But I never saw his work. He never invited me to his shows. I killed his desire to share with me, and I didn't even realize it. Margaret asked me for a divorce when I was 62. We were sitting at the kitchen table, the same table where we used to eat breakfast together when we were young, where we used to laugh and plan our future. She looked tired, so tired. "I can't do this anymore, William," she said quietly. "I've been alone in this marriage for 30 years. I'm tired of being alone." I was stunned. I didn't see it coming. Or maybe I did, and I just ignored it. "We can fix this," I said. "I'll work less. I'll be home more." She shook her head. "You've been saying that for 30 years. And even when you're here, you're not really here. Your mind is always somewhere else." "I built all of this for you," I said. "The house, the money, everything." "I never asked for any of it," she said, and her voice broke. "I just wanted you." We divorced 6 months later. The children took her side. I didn't blame them. I thought I would be fine. I threw myself back into work. I was 62, but I still ran my company. I told myself I didn't need anyone, that I was strong, independent. But the house was so quiet. I would come home to silence. No one to talk to. No one to share dinner with. No one who cared whether I came home at all. I started to understand what I had lost. But it was too late. I tried to reconnect with my children. I called them, invited them to dinner, tried to show interest in their lives. But the distance was too great. Thomas was polite but cold. He had his own family now, children I barely knew. When I asked about them, he would answer, but briefly. There was no warmth, no connection. Elizabeth was busy, always busy. She had become like me, successful, driven, always working. When we talked, it felt like a business meeting. Professional, distant. James was the hardest. He didn't return my calls most of the time. When he did, our conversations were short. I tried to tell him I was sorry, that I regretted not supporting his art, that I was proud of him. Thanks, he said flatly, and I could hear it in his voice. He didn't believe me. How could he? I had spent his entire childhood showing him I didn't care. Why would he believe me now? I retired at 75, sold the company, made more money than I could ever spend, and I had nothing to do with it. No one to share it with. No one who wanted it. I tried to fill my days. I traveled, but traveling alone is lonely. I went to museums, restaurants, theaters, all the places Margaret wanted to go when we were young. But doing it alone just reminded me of what I had lost. I bought things, expensive things, but they didn't matter. I donated money, built a library in my hometown, funded scholarships. People thanked me. They put my name on a plaque, but none of it filled the emptiness. Margaret died when I was 93. Elizabeth called to tell me. I went to the funeral. My children were there with their families. Grandchildren I barely knew. Great-grandchildren I had never met. They were all crying, holding each other, sharing memories, and I stood apart because I didn't have memories with her. Not recent ones. The only memories I had were from 60 years ago, from when we were young and happy, and I hadn't ruined everything yet. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. I felt numb. After the service, Thomas came up to me. "She never stopped loving you," he said quietly. "Even after everything. Even after the divorce. She told me once that you were the love of her life, but she couldn't live with your choices." Those words broke something in me. She loved me, and I had wasted it. I'm 106 now. I've lived longer than almost anyone. People ask me the secret to a long life. They expect me to say something about diet or exercise or keeping busy. But the truth, living a long life means nothing if you live it alone. I have all the time in the world now, hours and hours every day, and I have nothing to do with it, no one to share it with. I sit by my window and I watch people, young people, people with their whole lives ahead of them, and I see them making the same mistakes I made. I see men in suits rushing past, phones pressed to their ears, too busy to notice the world around them. I see parents in the parking lot, distracted, checking their messages, while their children try to get their attention. I see people choosing work over love, success over connection, money over meaning, and I want to scream at them, "Stop. Stop what you're doing. Look at the people who love you. Look at them while they're still here." Here's what I learned too late. Success means nothing if you're alone. Money means nothing if you have no one to share it with. Achievement means nothing if the people you love don't know you. I built an empire. I made millions. I had power, respect, influence, and none of it mattered. None of it loved me back. None of it held my hand when I was scared. None of it sat with me when I was lonely. The only things that matter, the only things, are the people you love and who love you back. That's it. That's the whole secret. Everything else is just noise. I think about my father, the man who worked in a factory his whole life, who never made much money, who lived in a small house and wore the same jacket for 20 years. But when he died, the church was full. People came from all over. They told stories about him, about his kindness, his generosity, his time, how he listened, how he cared. He was rich in the only way that matters. And I, with all my money, all my success, I am poor. When I die, there will be a funeral. My children will come out of obligation. They will be sad, I suppose, because I am their father, but they won't miss me. Not really, because they never really had me. I will leave them money, a lot of money, but I should have left them memories. I should have left them a father. If I could go back, here's what I would do differently. I would leave work early. Every single day, I would come home for dinner. I would ask my wife about her day and actually listen to the answer. I would play with my children, get down on the floor and build things with them. Read them stories, tuck them in at night. I would say no to business trips, to late meetings, to opportunities that would take me away from them. I would choose them every time, over everything else. I would tell Margaret I loved her, not just say the words, but show her, with my time, with my presence, with my attention. I would support James's art. I would go to every school play Elizabeth was in. I would teach Thomas how to fix things, how to think, how to be a man, not by telling him, but by being there. I would be present. That's all they wanted. My presence. And I gave them everything except that. You might be listening to this and thinking, but I have to work. I have bills to pay. I have responsibilities. I understand. I'm not saying don't work. I'm not saying success is bad. I'm saying don't sacrifice the people you love for it. Don't miss the moments that matter. Don't tell yourself you'll make it up later. There is no later. Later doesn't exist. Your children will only be young once. Your parents will only be alive for so long. Your partner will only wait for so long. Time is the one thing you cannot buy back. I have $16 million sitting in a bank account right now. 16 million. And I would give every single penny, to have dinner with Margaret one more time, to hear her laugh, to tell her I'm sorry, to tell her she was right. I would give it all to play catch with Thomas when he was 7, to watch Elizabeth's dance recital, to tell James his art was beautiful. But I can't. Money can buy many things, but it cannot buy back time. I want you to understand something. Your life will go by faster than you think. I know you're young. You have all the time in the world, right? No, you don't. I was young yesterday. I was 25 and getting married. I blinked and I was 45 and successful. I blinked again and I was 70 and alone. I blinked again and I'm 106 and sitting in a care home waiting to die. It goes so fast. So please listen to me. Put down your phone. Close your laptop. Leave work on time. Go home to the people who love you. Hug them. Talk to them. Listen to them. Be there, not half there. Not distracted. Not thinking about work or money. or what you need to do tomorrow. Be fully there. Look them in the eyes. Hold their hands. Make memories. Because one day, and that day comes faster than you can imagine, they will be gone. Or you will be gone. And all the money, all the success, all the achievements won't mean anything. I have one visitor here at the care home. Her name is Sarah. She's a nurse. She works 3 days a week, and on her days off, she volunteers. She sits with the old people who have no one. She sits with me. She brings me tea. She asks me about my life. She listens to my stories, even though I've told them 100 times. She's not my daughter. She's not my family. She doesn't have to be here. But she is. And sometimes when she's here, I forget for a moment how lonely I am. I asked her once why she does this. Why she spends her free time with old people who will forget her tomorrow. She said, because everyone deserves to be seen. Everyone deserves to know they matter. She's 29 years old, and she understands something it took me 90 years to learn. People matter. Connection matters. Love matters. Everything else is just details. I'm going to tell you the secret to a happy life. Are you ready? It's simple. Love people and let them love you back. That's it. Not success, not money, not achievement, not status. Just love. Love deeply. Love honestly. Love presently. Show up for the people in your life. Not when it's convenient. Not when you have time. Not when you've finished everything else. Now. Today. This moment. Because this moment is all you have. This moment is all anyone has. I thought I had time. I thought I could work hard now and enjoy life later. I thought I could build my empire first and then focus on my family. But there was no later. There was only now, and I wasted it. Don't waste it. Don't tell yourself you'll spend time with them tomorrow. Don't tell yourself you'll make it up to them. Don't tell yourself they understand. They might understand. But understanding doesn't fill the emptiness. My biggest regret isn't that I didn't make more money. It's not that I didn't build a bigger company. My biggest regret is that I chose things over people. I chose success over my son's baseball games. I chose work over my daughter's recitals. I chose money over my wife's loneliness. I chose everything except what mattered. And now I'm 106 years old, sitting alone in a room, and I would give anything, to go back and choose differently. But I can't. You can. You still have time. You still have people who love you. People who want your time, your attention, your presence. Don't make them beg for it. Don't make them compete with your job, your phone, your ambitions. Choose them. Choose them every single day. Choose them in the small moments, the ordinary moments, the moments that seem like they don't matter, because those are the moments that matter most. I'm tired now. My body is tired. My mind is tired. I've lived too long. That's the truth. I've outlived everyone I ever loved, and I'm still here, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm here to tell you this. Maybe that's the point. So you don't make the same mistakes I made. So you don't wake up one day, old and alone, and realize you wasted the only thing that was ever real. Love is real. Connection is real. People are real. Everything else is just smoke. Before it's too late, I'm telling you this. Before you blink and you're 80. Before you blink and you're 100. Before you blink and everyone you love is gone. Stop chasing things that don't matter. Stop sacrificing people for success. Stop telling yourself there's time. There isn't. There's only now. So go home. Call your mother. Hug your children. Tell your partner you love them. Be present. Be there. Be real. Because that's the secret. That's the only secret. A happy life is a life filled with people who know you, really know you, and love you anyway. A happy life is a life where you love deeply and were loved in return. Everything else, the money, the career, the house, the car, it all turns to dust. But love remains. Love is all that remains. I'm 106 years old, and I'm telling you this now before it's too late. Not for me, for you. Choose love, choose people, choose presence, before it's too late.